And so now over to Neishka, who will be taking over the session for resume and LinkedIn workshop.
Thanks, Neha. Let me quickly share my slide. So can you wait? Yep. I hope everyone can see my slide. So I'll quickly start by introducing myself. I am Neishka. I'm working in London. I'm working as a computer vision research engineer in London. And I've graduated from my master's degree in data science from Queen Mary University of London in January. My work revolves more around deep learning and machine learning and using those applications in coming up with new solutions for my company. So it is more like a research role. So yeah, reading a lot of new research papers, it's really interesting. So getting into the event. So the topic that we are going to talk about today are CV and LinkedIn. So these are the most important profiles that you might have. So let's try on making them attractive so that we get a lot of audience, a lot of recruiters calling us. Okay, so the first thing that we need to keep in mind is that CV is not just one-time making process. It's an iterative process. So once you do it, you kind of have to get it reviewed by someone, maybe your friends, family, or a reviewer, maybe a mentor that you might have, and then they're going to give you a feedback. So it's not like there's nothing called as a perfect CV that exists. So it's more like a good CV and a bad CV, and we don't want to be in that category where our CV is bad. So that's one pointer. So the first thing that we need to understand is how to get started when we are making a CV. So the first thing that one should do is definitely go online and do some research in a way that if you can go online, check what are the templates which are available. When I say templates, some data scientist or machine learning profiles that you might get, you just search on Google that data science CV templates, and you're going to find a few of them. Now, the important thing is that you just glance through it rather than, understanding what's written exactly inside the content. So inside the section, I don't want you to go glancing in the sections, because what happens is we sometimes look at those profiles, look at those bio, the way they have written projects, and we kind of get biased on the fact, oh, the way they have written is pretty cool. That's something I want to do. Something we need to learn is that we don't have to copy. That's a very important step. So what you need to do is when you're glancing through a template, make a list of sections that you might be interested in. Now, when you're selecting sections in a CV, it's important if you can come up with, sections which are actually relevant to your profile, because there are templates when someone has written, they have certifications, they have some kind of accomplishments, and maybe you might not have that much of certification or accomplishment. So you don't have to always write those information if you don't have it. No need to fill your CV every time. So you need to keep in mind that you need to be on point, what's relevant to you, and just coming up with sections. So if you don't have a certification section, don't add it. Just stick to the basic templates of like having skills, having projects, experience, if you have any, and also about me is a very good thing that you can have in your section. Quick recap: there is no perfect CV. Glance through your CV template, glance through few templates only for section and not for content. We don't want to be biased by the way they have written and something that we might need to copy, and decide what section is basically relevant to what you are going to write or you have in your experience. Now, what we're going to discuss is what are the do's and don'ts. When I say do's and don'ts, I want you to focus on things that we might need to avoid while making a CV. So, and what are the things we need to remember when, which are basically very important when we are making a CV. So a very quick CV workshop I have. So what I want you to do is you guys are the recruiter today, and I'm going to show 2 templates of CV templates, and I want you to ping on the chat box what you think is not right with the CV. So if there is no right and wrong answer, I want you to be as prompt as possible, just according to you, what you think is not working. And remember, every recruiter has only 45 seconds to 1 minute to glance through a CV and make a decision. So try to be on that specific time, like, okay, in 45 seconds, what do you think is not working or is not right? So I quickly share a CV template. So this is one of the CVs, and if you glance through it, what do you think? Can you comment on the chat? What do you think is a problem with this CV, according to you guys? Yep, that's right. 2 pages. It's very, yep. Very dense text. Good. Yep, not properly structured and formatting. Yep. Anyone else has any other guesses? There's no right and wrong answer. What you feel, if you are a recruiter, that you might not want to have this person in, like, you don't want to interview them. What could be the points that you feel is not right? There is no contact information. Well, I've just hidden it, but okay, yeah. Okay, cool. So yes, the most important one is it's 2 pages, too many bullet points, right? Yes, the thing is that the first thing, which is very, very, very important, which I think Natalie have, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but she has mentioned it's 2 pages. Never, ever we want a CV to be 2 pages if we have experience less than 5 to 6 years. It's very important. The next thing is too much bullet points. Yes, that's also very important. It's very dense. So if you, what you need to remember, so as a recruiter, you were able to understand that part, right? So when we are making a CV, we need to understand that the recruiter has just 45 seconds to glance through a CV. So we want it to be easy to read when you are, going through your CV. So it's easy to understand, okay, this is a skill section, this is experience. So starting off with the professional summary, if you can see, it's too, I don't know if someone, I'm going to quote something. I don't know if everyone has watched Big Bang Theory, but if they have, then it looks like Sheldon Cooper might have written that thing. It's more like, it's very robotic. It could look like, okay, they might have copied it with someone, because if you notice, it's something that is not very natural coming to you. First of all, when you don't have a lot of experience, you don't want to add professional summary, but you might need to add about me as a section rather than professional summary. Now, when you're talking about me, we as a recruiter or in a hiring committee, we want to see who you are as a person. Who am I talking? Who is Neishka? And what does she want in life? So about you could be something about personal to you, which is not mentioned in the CV, in the skill section or the experience section. So what you can write is, hi, I'm not hi, but I'm pursuing masters in data science. That's what I've written, pursuing masters in data science, and what you're looking for. So that's very important for you to have a clarity on. If you're looking for a data science role, if you're looking for a machine learning role, so be specific. You can definitely change based on the job description you're applying to, but that's something you want to write in the first place. Second point is what you can add on that about me could be, what are your future goals? What are you looking to become? So what this position might mean to you. So that's something like, I am aspire to be a senior data scientist or lead in technical. I need those experience to actually guide through, or, I need that experience to actually make me capable enough to guide through these mentors or become a lead. So something like that, you can play around with it, but they want to know who you are and what your aspirations are. The other thing that you can mention is, if you are interested in hackathons and you like attending networking events, you can mention that. So that's the place where I need to understand who Neishka is, or anyone with the CV belongs to. So, and yeah, not like, don't keep a paragraph. It's very hard to go through. 1 line is enough, and maybe 2 bullet points are also enough, like not more than 2 bullet points. 1 line, 2 bullet points. When we are talking about skills, okay, if everyone can just stay away from the laptops for a second, and if I glance through your skills section and then I glance to education, if you notice, it's easier for you to read the education section because you're like, okay, master of science, data science, bachelor's in engineering. Okay, it's easier. But if you go on the skills section, it's a bit hard to read because all the information is cluttered at one point, and we don't want it. We need to understand the CV has to go to a recruiter who has 45 seconds. If you want it to go past that interview round, you need to make sure your CV is easy to read and interpret. So what you can do is, rather than having so much data, you can just have 4 to 5 bullet points, which are important. No recruiter wants to see that you know everything. No one can knows everything. That's the first rule of being in tech. No one can knows everything. So it's fine. What you can do is add the most relevant skill. I would not say, you just have to add, the first thing has to be Python or C, because everyone has different languages that they work on. So select any 4-5 skills that you want to showcase and put that. One thing that you can do is, if you want to add all those skills, you can scatter it in maybe experience section or in the project section rather than all in the skill section. So maybe under the project section, you can write, work on building recommendation system, and then maybe skills like Word2Vec, or maybe skills like Beautiful Soup or Selenium. You can add under that section that, okay, with this, I worked on these stacks, rather than all cluttered in one. So in that way, you have all the skills you want to add in your CV, but just not cluttered in one area. So you can just divide your skills based on that. Also, if you want to keep changing, as everyone says, you need to change your CV skills based on the job description you're applying to. Just check on the job description. What are the keywords they're using for their skills? So they could be using deep learning, sklearn. You might need, SageMaster, anything like SageMaker. Anything like that, whatever the skills and keywords are mentioned, you can just add it or make changes in your CV based on that. The other thing is experience. So looking at the CV, it's again, too much information at one place. First of all, if someone is working in a company, we don't want all the information to be put in the CV, because we are going to be interacting with the interviewers once we are past that round, right? So there need to be some information which you have left outside the CV where we can discuss and talk about, right? So what we can do is just 1 or 2 lines about your experience would be more than enough. You can maybe talk about the stacks you use. So one line pointers could be worked on a project using machine learning, Word2Vec, whatever you have used. One line could be that. Second line could be the objective of the project. What have you done in the project? How this project kind of impacts someone's life, or could be impact a client. What's its use case? And the third thing could be results. When you generated the results, what it is. Now, most of the time I've seen in CVs that people just add, oh, got 90% accuracy. So a short story, when I was applying after my master's, and I shared my CV to a big company's recruiter, and they were very courteous enough to message me back. And they said that, I really don't understand what the accuracy means. Can you please change that? Provide information. What does the accuracy means? So how do you got your accuracy? What metrics you use for your accuracy? What does the word accuracy means here? So you need to give some kind of solid foundation on that, okay, this is what I did. And accuracy on, this metric means that this person is classified as this or classified as that, whatever your project is about. So if you see 3 lines, 3 bullet points are more than enough. Maybe 4 lines is really more than enough. You don't need so much information at one place. So that's the experience part. You can completely remove so much space if you do that. Now, again, as I said, numbers here doesn't mean anything if you don't have a backup to it. What exactly this number means could be accuracy, could be how much you kind of increase the sale. So if you read this line, you really don't know how the 37% and 62% comes. Don't add numbers if you really don't think it fits. Just don't. Right? Because the problem will come, let's say you pass the interview round, and when you're having a call with a conversation with the recruiters, they're going to come after you and ask you, what does this mean? And that would look really embarrassing that you might not have the right answer, right? And we don't want to be in that spot. Next section is projects. Again, too much information, not needed. 1 or 2 lines. As I said, skills can go under projects. You can scatter them around the projects. So maybe you have written Word2Vec or Keras and TensorFlow. You can maybe skip under the project, like, okay, if you're working on sentiment analysis, you can write there NLP as a skill. Stack used NLP, machine learning, Word2Vec, anything like that. So like in recommendation system I worked on in my master's thesis, I written a stack below Word2Vec, recommendation system, so that if you have read few research paper, you might have noticed that they have a keyword which kind of make you understand which topics we are talking about. Is it deep learning? Okay, it's talking about sentiment analysis. Okay, you kind of get an idea what the paper is about. So that's what you want. The other thing is, do provide links to your GitHub when you're talking about projects. It's very, very important, because as a recruiter, I might not go through the project, but I'll be like, oh, they have provided a link. Let me click on that. And it will give me an understanding of what's your coding pattern like. So it's very important to provide links in your projects. Education is fine. So if you see education part, this is such well written because it's easy to read. It's so quick for me to go through it and be like, oh, okay, it makes sense. And accomplishment, if you don't have any, don't write. But if you have, you can mention it like that, or in bullet points, but don't add too much of it. Just a couple of them. So if now we have a brief understanding of how we would want to have your CV written, I'll show you another one. And I want you now to be more prompt to in understanding what might be missing, what might not be missing, and what is a problem in the CV. So I want you again texting on the chat box, what's wrong with that CV? So this is the other one. I'll scroll it and you'll let me know what's wrong with the CV. Font size, yes, that's very important. Font size is not matching. Don't have structure, yes. Different fonts or format, yep. Okay, I'll just put it here. If someone has any other things to say, I'll give a minute more. Yeah, right, cool. So again, if you read the bio, I don't really understand. One thing is right, they know what kind of, now the thing is that they are written seeking challenging position in a STEAM organization where my technical knowledge, it's good, but I don't know who this person is. I don't understand who they are, what they're looking for, what position they're applying for, what their position they're interested in. So I want that information. It's very, very important. Yes. The other thing is work experience. If you see, it's not properly structured. I really can't understand. These are the two company names, but I really cannot understand where did this start, where did this end. So that's one thing. It's not well structured. That is the first thing. If you notice that one thing that you need to know when you're writing your work experience or your project is how you have to always start your word with an action word, because it's easy for a recruiter to grab and okay, developed. Okay, that's something I need to think about. Okay, develop web application. Cool, interesting. And using that skill. So you need to start your words or your sentences with an action word. It's kind of very helpful for recruiters to kind of, okay, glance through, okay, which is the important one. Now, project-wise, I don't know what the heading is. I have no idea what the project is. One-liner, just one-liner for a project. I really don't know what's happening. So definitely, we don't want to do that. Achievements, if you have it, good. If you don't have it, as I said, no need to write it all the time. Skills, again, too much information, too many text, just 4 to 5 skills are enough. The thing is, what a recruiter wants you to have is maybe you have just 4 skills. Maybe you just have, how to use TensorFlow and Keras, how to use basic sklearn libraries, how to use Python, and maybe just 3 skills, but that's enough. That's enough, because if you know how to make that logic actually code in Python, and you can actually do that, that's more than enough for you to be eligible in a company. They don't want you to list, 100 and 200 skills. They just want you to master those 5 skills you have in your CV. So that's more important. So yeah, definitely you might not want to write it like this. bullet points, Python, sklearn, pandas, TensorFlow, whatever you feel is comfortable, whatever you are comfortable with, you can add that. As I said, scattered it around in your CV, your skills, so that some companies, like big companies, what they have is they pass their CV in a CV parser, and what they do is they select keywords from your CV. So because now your CV is not, your skills are not just at one place, they're scattered around, the recruiter would be able to read through it. You still have all your skills in the CV, so it wouldn't be a problem for you. So yeah, definitely focus on the relevant skills. So let's say if you want to talk about communication skills. So one event that we had last Friday was focusing on the communication skills. And it's very important in tech as well. So there are two types of communication. There's verbal and written. So if you can practice writing how you can explain your project in a line or two, and if you want, and how you can explain it to someone who is not from a technical background. So the technical recruiters do not actually know a lot of, tech stacks or deeper in your project. They're not experienced in that field. So what you want to do is write it so neatly, or I should say in a way that it's easier for them to understand. So I build a recommendation system, a candidate recommendation system, which do these kind of stuff. So I use these stacks to build that. So it's easier for them to understand, and it's a good skill to highlight in your CV without actually listing that I have a good communication skill. You can show it through actually these kind of ways, that the way you have actually written your CV, the way you have explained your project is a very important skills that you need to have in any organization. Education. Again, what the person has done is written the projects in the education section. It's kind of very confusing because that's not a basic style of writing. Projects always goes under projects, and education is more about where you have worked on. So that's one thing you need to take in mind, as well as definitely font size has to be aligned. You cannot have different font size. And yeah, try to make it in one page. And if you see, you can actually put it into one place if you remove all the irrelevant information. It takes a lot of practice. It took me a couple of years to practice. I had like more than 5-8 CVs every since my undergrad time, and I kept iterating it. I kept showing it to few reviewers, my seniors, that hey, can you have a review? What do you think? So it's a good practice because everyone is going to give their suggestions. So you can look at it, you can think about it, and then think if you really need to change that. But you get an opinion. Once it's at the point when it looks like, oh, it's a decent, good looking CV, you know that, okay, I'm fine. Now it's all typo free. There is no grammar mistake, nothing. Again, a quick story. When I told you I applied for that place and the recruiter kind of texted me that, hey, there's some missing, some things which are not right. And they were, again, very courteous to give me a list of typos that I've actually missed out. And I've actually passed it to so many reviewers. And I've completely missed it out that there are typos and grammar. So it's good to pass your CV to a few of your friends so that they can actually have a look and pick out some grammar mistake that you might have. Right? Cool. Coming back to the session again. Quick recap. One-page CV, very, very important. Most of the time we get rejected because we have too much information, 2 pages. Keep your about me and profile short and unique, very important. Who you are, what you're looking for, and what you're expecting from a company. Sometimes you can actually add that I'm looking for a role. I'm looking for a work culture where I am valued, where I am working on something new and exciting. I don't want to be repeating the work I'm already doing. I want to grow my skills. So I'm looking for a work culture where we have, very inclusive environment. We are talking about, basically, I'm getting a chance to grow and learn. So you can also talk about that. It's fine. People really like when you know stuff, what you want to do. Then use of action verbs, very important to start your projects and experience with that. Mastering few skills is way greater than listing large number of skills. If you have 5 skills you're good at, that's important, rather than, you know a little bit of everything. That's not very good. Provide links to your project, very, very important. A recruiter needs to understand, not a recruiter, but maybe someone who is going through your, who is a hiring manager might want to see what your coding style look like. So it's good to have projects. And only keep the relevant information. Don't add too much information if it's not needed, because you would want to talk to the recruiters rather than everything in the CV, being everything present in the CV. Get your CV reviewed for typos and grammar. That's very important. Yeah, there are a few links. Please don't be restricted to these links only. You can definitely go around finding other links as well. But these are few links that I've found are very useful. I use it most of the time. These are list of action verbs that you might find. It's a Harvard list, and it's really, really good. You're going to find a lot of them. Again, Harvard has this guide of CV and cover letter template. You'll also get a big list of action verbs there, so you can have a check there. Now, if you want to review your CV, I would suggest you can don't be restricted again to these links. Check out other websites as well. There might be more, but Mentoring Club and TopMate is something that we kind of I've used in the past, so it's pretty good. And you can find few mentors. I would not say restrict to one. Try finding 2 to 3 mentors. When I was doing my master's, I actually had, I had arranged a call with 6, 7 mentors, and I used to talk to all of them. And sometimes it's good to understand what a recruiter side of the perspective is. What are they looking for? And every recruiter's style is different, so it kind of helps you in a way to understand what you need to focus on, right? Cool. So skills to highlight in your CV for data science and machine learning. Now, I'm not going to talk about what exact skills you need to have, for a data science machine learning profile, but I'm going to talk about how you can add the skills based on your JD. As I mentioned, go on the job description, check what keywords they have used for skills: deep learning, Keras, TensorFlow, C++, good knowledge of certain skills. So add those somewhere in your CV, scatter it around your place, so that they're like, okay, if it's not just in the skills section, you'll have it in the experience section, maybe in your project section. So in that way, you have added all these skills, which is because, look, I cannot say that this is the only skill for data science. This is the only skill for machine learning, because it really depends on company to company. And maybe one company, so if you think about it, machine learning engineer in Spotify would have a certain set of skills, and machine learning in DeepMind or Google would have a different set of skills, right? They're working on different, the application is different for their problems and everything. So that's what I'm saying. Really depends on the company to company. So that's why I said, go through the job description, see what skills you're required, and then try to add those skills in your CV there. So that's how you can highlight those skills, which are actually necessary for your job descriptions. Coming to LinkedIn, I'll try to wrap up as quickly as I can so that we have quite a lot of time for Q&As. For LinkedIn, how can I make my LinkedIn stand out? So LinkedIn is also very important. A lot of recruiters kind of reach out through you on LinkedIn these days. And also you can ask for referral in a company through your LinkedIn profile. So you need to have an updated and really good and attractive LinkedIn. So quickly talking about me, as I said, few things are very similar to what we just talked about in CV: who you are, what you are passionate about, what you're looking for in a role. There are 2 samples that I have from people. And if you notice, it's not a big one. It's not a big chunk. This is something I, again, had a session with one of the mentors that when I was studying, and they told me, no one wants to see your big, about me. They want to understand what is, what are you looking for? Who you are, what you're passionate about, what do you want to become. So that's something you can highlight, if you're interested in fintech, if you're interested in research. So what you are really passionate about, you can just add there. And a short one would be great, because all of the information is already in your LinkedIn and your CV, and they can refer that. Experience. Now, there are 2 different formats of writing experience. What you can do is either you can go with this format where if you see, All these four profiles here are very self-explanatory. We don't need a lot of explanations, but summer research intern might need more clarification, like what did a person did there, because maybe they're working on machine learning projects, maybe they're doing on something else. So this person just for that had one liner, that's more than enough. But again, there's another person who had written data science intern, and just a few lines would be important. Focus what is relevant and which is actually important. Just add those pointers. Do not need to add a lot of it, or don't just skip the experience. Even if it's a small experience, just for a month, have it. I would say try making a practice that maybe, if possible, you can get some internship experience or some part-time. If possible, if you don't have experience, do have projects. It's very important if you don't have experience, but you have a lot of projects. That way, that can count as your experience in coding. Other section that you can focus on, recommendation system, very, very important. You can ask your seniors, you can ask your colleagues who might be working with you. You can ask your professors to kind of your head of departments who can give you a recommendation, and they actually easily give it to you. It's not a problem for them. Skill set, what you cannot do is add skill set. Sometimes what recruiter does is they have a section, they have a recommendation system, they put their skills there, and they kind of get a recommendation of candidates which has same skills. So add as much skills as you can here and not in the CV. You can add it here. Projects, as I said, do add projects on your LinkedIn. It's again very important. You can provide links to it. If possible for you guys to have a small blog post about your project, add that as well. Anything can go. And education, yes, you can write about your education as well. Important. If you have any license certificate, do mention that as well. Just keep it updated as much as you can. You can add anything over here, but not, you can't add a lot of things in your CV, right? Again, short pointers that we might need to remember. Bio, about me, who you are, what you're looking for, short summary on experience section, provide links of GitHub, blogs, certification, and publication. Ask for reference. Skills, try giving an assessment test if possible. You can endorse your friends and family, and you can ask for endorsements as well. You can give a test, and that would be, for you to give. And by the way, these tests are hard, so if you pass it, it's a good sign that you know your stuff. Then project links, very, very important. If you have it, everyone needs to understand what your coding style looks like. Good luck, and we can start with Q&As if you have any questions.
Hey, Neishka, so there's already one question in the Q&A box. So Kirsty's asked, what do you recommend in terms of CV structure and content for someone who's 40 plus and pivoting to tech and has no experience or formal education, that is self-taught in data science?
Oh, okay. Cool. So the thing is that because you are, you might have any experience in the past. If you have any experience in the past, that count as some experience. So what you can do is answering your first part, which is some CV structure. I would say you can talk about, if you're applying in a data science field or machine learning, talk about you. You can talk about that you have experience in the past in these fields, and now you're trying to jump into data science, machine learning. You need to have some projects. I know it's hard at that time. If you have some time to do a single project, one project, two projects, do add that. If you don't, at least do some certification. That would help you in a long way because you do have experience. So it won't be that big of a problem, right? If you can't do a project, just have some certification, know your stuff. So if someone asks you, sorry, what is dimensionality reduction? Or what is supervised learning? You need to know the answer, right? It's okay if you don't have projects, but you need to know the roles. Now, if you are 40 plus and pivoting into tech, the first thing that should come into mind is, do you want to be in that? Do you want to code in data science, or do you want to lead the team, right? Because with that much experience, I'm pretty sure that you will be able to lead the team. To lead the team, I would say do some practice, do some slight coding that you can. know your stuff, do some certification, and that's pretty much that's going to help you. The other thing with structure wise, have skills. You can add some skills that you have recently done, list your project, add your experience, because no matter what you have done in the past, you do have some experience working in a working organization, working in a team. So that does count, right? And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You can ask for referrals, you can ask for, yeah, you're someone who has recently dropped off from your office, they're working at some other place, you can ask if they can refer you. And yeah, I think that would be it, because it's not that you don't have experience, it's something that you need to brush off your latest experience, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you so much for such a really good answer. I think that really helped. I'm sure it would have helped the one person who asked, and I'm sure it helped a lot of others as well. So we have another question by BC Josh. I think I'm pronouncing the name right. I hope that. Who asks, what are the differences between machine learning and data science?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I've had my questions, the same question I had like a couple of months back when I was studying. So the big difference is data science is more on the statistic modeling. When you need to visualize something, when you need to analyze something, it does not have more neural network related stuff. You don't have to do very hard neural network related coding. So it's a bit different. Now, let me give you an example. If you think about retail companies like H&M or like Zara, they might need data scientists to do how their how their profits are looking like, what they need to do, what's the month when they are not getting a lot of people. Okay, by the end of month we see, because everyone is down with their salary, they don't spend too much, but now they are. When you're doing some kind of weather prediction, that's when data science kind of comes in. Machine learning is a bit different with that. Machine learning is where you're trying to predict something, when you're trying to, make any kind of prediction in the way of, you're trying to do classification, you're trying to come up with, okay, you want to, and estimate some kind of values. So that's a bit of machine learning, slightly different, more analytic. Data science is more analytic, probability, statistical. Machine learning also has those things. Now, very important thing that I've noticed is AI is the big, if you think about a Venn diagram, AI has data science, machine learning, and they're all overlapping as in skills. It really depends on what you really like doing. So when I was studying, giving an example, maybe it might help. When I was starting out in my bachelor's, I really didn't understand what's the difference between it. When I did some project, I understood that I like playing around image data set. I like working with image data set. So anything around that I can do it. Now, for data science, you need to have a good command in statistics. You need to have really, really good command in probability, how big data kind of works, how data mining works. So you need to understand and manipulate the data frame, work with large data frame, and you need to visualize, make analytical, decisions, and, have that thing. So that's mostly data science, I would say. But yes, it really depends on company to company and the roles in companies. So yeah, it's not like a set answer that this is exact data science and this is exact machine learning. But yeah, I hope it helps.
Thank you so much, Neishka. I think that was a really great answer. So if anyone else has any other questions, please to put them in our Q&A box, and we do have some time, so our speaker would be more than happy to answer your queries. Okay, so Neishka, maybe I'll just ask you a question. Do you
Sure.
have any tips on CV or LinkedIn for someone who's starting out in the field, like as a fresher who's just from college going for their first job or first internship? What do you think they should put on their CV and LinkedIn? Because they
Right.
won't have a lot of experience.
Yeah, have been there. I think everyone has been there. How it helped me, I can share that. Maybe it might help you as well. When you're starting with your first CV, first ever CV, what you can do is try doing a lot of projects, because if you don't have experience, you need projects. So invest some time on your project and invest time in documenting those projects. So have a good GitHub profile where you have added README, good amount of, proper structured code. I know it could be hard considering you're just starting out, but if you have a Jupyter notebook, just put it there, bit more cleaner so that people who is reading can understand. Have a blog post. It's very helpful if you can have a blog post. And the other thing that you can now, because now you have a good amount of projects, that's gonna act as, an experience for you. Because in coding, in coding world, I would say it's important. If you don't have experience, see, even experience is like, the more you code, the more experience you get, right? It's not necessarily that you need to be working in a company. Now, a lot of people have dropped out from companies, from big tech. They are, they are leaving because they really enjoy open source sometimes, because they can just work and they're, blogging about it, and they actually earn quite a lot of money from there as well. But the good thing is that they enjoy actual coding and, doing some research. So what I'll say, work on your project section. Once you're done with some projects, highlight your projects in your CV. You can add some accomplishments. What you can do is, it's a very, very good practice for someone who's just starting out, go on hackathons. Very, very good idea. Attend hackathons, because there you're going to meet people who are from different companies. Sometimes very big tech companies comes and you are going to be talking to them, and it's easy for you to network in that way. And also something you can post that I've attended in this hackathon. It was, we worked on a real-time application, real-time project. We know how this stuff works. I've come up with solution in like 2-3 nights. I know what I'm doing. So you can add that. Hackathons are very, very good if you're just starting out. And yeah, projects, skills, you can add your skills as much you can. If you're talking about LinkedIn, keep updated, keep your LinkedIn updated. And if you're talking about how to apply, I would say just talk to, if you're going through hackathons, I'm pretty sure you would not have any problem applying, because good thing about hackathons is that you meet a lot of people, and even if you don't win, but participate, there are people who, there are company recruiters, hiring manager who comes to your table and, they're interacting with you. And sometimes they kind of give you their card that, you can call me when you need an internship. I'll help you out. And you can just message or email them. So that's a very good thing that you can do when you are just starting out, because you have personally met that person. So try going to as much hackathons you can. It doesn't have to be a big one. So if you go to a hackathon, you'll also notice that these hackathons are going to post about your profile on LinkedIn, right? They're going to add you on LinkedIn, and that's kind of increase the visibility of, maybe someone from, H&M, or maybe from Google or Meta, or someone, is in connection with the people who have conducted the hackathon. Be like, okay, I see this person. They look interesting. The project looks interesting. Let me have a look. And the other thing is, you can definitely ask for referrals. It's very, very easy for you to get referral nowadays, because honestly telling, everyone is willing to give referrals if you ask for it, right? So it's about you asking. So if you ask for it, it's fine. But yes, if you're just starting off, hackathons and your projects are your go-to, because you don't have much to do. Other thing, don't just add stuff like accomplishments, if you don't have it. Don't just add certifications, because I would not invest time in certifications, because you're just doing your master's and your, undergrad. So you're already studying. You don't need a certificate which needs to be added extra. You've done that in your undergrad, right? Certification of people who have already graduated like 5-6 years ago, and they want to rebrush on their certain skills. So that's certification used for. For you, all you need to do is, you have time, you can invest on your projects, and that's more and more important. Go on hackathons. So don't add certification, focused on skills, projects, and hackathons, and some accomplishment if you can have, and that's more than enough, honestly.
Thank you so much. I think that was a really good answer, and I'll I feel like I'll immediately go and update my CV with that information. All right, we have two more questions from our audience. Kuria asks, please recommend your favorite sites to help a beginner build their skill set project portfolios. Thank you.
Okay, so beginners have skill set project portfolios. What you can do is connect with a good mentor. First of all, this is something that we are lacking in today's time, which is not, so everyone wants to be a data scientist, a machine learning engineer, but they don't have proper mentors. When I was growing up, in my family, honestly, no one was, no one even heard about the machine learning roles. So I was always having a struggle understanding. I used to try to Google like how to become a machine learning engineer, what to do, where to start from. Sometimes I was very confused. So I've noticed having a good mentor is very important that can help you in one-to-one basis, and Topmate and mentoring club is a very good place to start from because that's free. I'm never in a favor of, paid these kind of things, because if someone is asking for help, I'm pretty sure, when you are an undergrad or master student, they've invested so much money on their education. The last thing they want to invest is how to get a job. And for that also I have to pay someone. Right. So that's the last thing you want to do. So I would say Topmate and mentoring club is very good. They can help you on one-to-one basis in building your projects and portfolio. But still, if you want to start with it, I would suggest, if you want to start coding, Kaggle is a very good website to start coding, because Kaggle allows you to kind of have your coding as well as, a theoretical part side by side. It's not like, in a courses like Coursera or something, you're just going through videos and all. You're actually coding side by side. So you can do that. You can start with a mini project. The way I explain every time to anyone who asks me these questions is, go on Kaggle, select a data set, and try downloading a notebook that is assigned, that is, with the data set. See what they are doing and try to copy the code. Now, there are two types of copy. You just control C and copy it. Don't do that. Try actually opening it side by side and try writing it down every time you're typing, but you're actually looking at it and then copying. That is going to help you remember, okay, how I read data frames, how I, do processing, how I do data mining. So data mining is a very, very important step that you need to have when you're starting out. Now, projects, this is once you have a good understanding of how you have to do an EDA. If you're really interested in EDA, I think you should attend the next session that we have on EDA, which is going to help you build that portfolio, build that project, and how to select a project. And we're all going to talk about that. But yeah, Kaggle is a good place to start with your, they have courses. There is another thing called educate.io. It's also good if you are starting with your coding and, you want to add more skills to it. But yes, adding skill set comes with projects. Doing projects comes with, you're selecting a data frame and just start off, your coding. That's how you can do it. If you need more advice on it, how you can do it, how should I start from it, you can definitely connect with any of the mentors. But a very quick answer would be, just go on Kaggle, try, let's say you have selected iris data set, let's say, like just an example, or cancer analysis, which is cancer classification, let's say tumor classification is a project name. You have a data set for that. Now what you can do is go on Google, find cancer classification Python beginners notebook, and you're going to find so many blog posts. Try again copying it, but not like Control C, but typing and copying it. And that's how you kind of learn. When you do this practice 6 to 7 times on 6 to 7 different data set, you kind of start with that, building up that skill set from there.
Wow, I think that was some really, really good advice. And I liked how you said that whole typing and copying thing, because I think that's very important. I've heard that a lot as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Kirsty who's asked, what kind of certification for data science do you think is most valuable for someone who doesn't have formal education in data science?
Okay, so I would suggest, definitely, I would suggest, if you want to invest in paid certifications, you can just Google. I'm not exactly sure what all there, but I'm pretty sure that they're out there. I think AWS has, Microsoft has one, but for me, it would not be, I would not ever invest on paid certification. It's good if I can have, LinkedIn has a very good certification themselves. So you can, if your company has access to LinkedIn Learning, go through it, and it's very good as certification because a lot of people now reach out through you via LinkedIn. So that could be a good thing. You can also add some projects, and that would be, identification that you have done, something. On LinkedIn, you have a skill endorsement thing where someone can endorse you, and you can also give an assessment test. So assessment test is pretty tough. It's, you get 2 minutes to solve a question, and it's sometimes it is, the time constraint can make you nervous. So you can do that, add that, and that would be more than enough. But definitely there are certifications. They would be, look, the thing is that there would not be only one certification out there or few certifications out there which are the best. Every certification has the same thing. When I was in undergrad, I was like, I want to do the best one. I want to pay for the best one because I'm pretty sure that would be more valuable. But that's not the thing. Every certification would have the same content. The structure would be slightly different, but the content would be the same. So either you do it a paid one or a non-paid one, you do it on LinkedIn Learning or anywhere else, it will have the same content. The only thing you need to start is, what are the some important data science skills? So which are data mining, which are big data processing, which are feature engineering, statistics. You can search, courses specific to that on Udemy or anywhere, and you can start with that. I think that would be a good idea, so that you can tackle one by one. You can just search on online, whatever important data science skills that one have. But I would suggest start with data mining. It's very, very important. EDA analysis, data mining, and big data structures, big data processing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I feel like I totally agree with you on that whole idea of paid certifications versus free certifications, because once I started realizing, I found that there's a lot of free resources that sometimes even better than the paid resource. So it's always better to check everything before you go for a paid service. And I
Yeah.
think you mentioned LinkedIn Learning, right? So if you're a student, I think LinkedIn Learning has this thing where they give you, if you just upload your ID card as a student or something, they'll give you 6 months of LinkedIn Premium for free. So you can access LinkedIn Learning as well. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. See, it's not like, even when I was studying and I was doing my master's, like a couple of months back, I was like, no, I want to do the best one. Like, which is the best one I need to find? I used to spend so much time Googling which is the best resources which is out there. But the thing is that every resources is same. The only thing is that today, maybe someone who has, who is working in, who's teaching in Georgia Tech is teaching, and there is other person. It's not necessary. It's not always necessary that the Georgia Tech person would have like the best knowledge ever. But there are other people who might have the same knowledge. The thing is that you get knowledge from anywhere, it would be the same thing. You'll be taught data mining. Even Kaggle has free courses, but people are like, no, I want to pay for, Udemy and all. But every time I tell everyone is like, go for Kaggle, because you're not just going through a theoretical format. It actually it has an exercise assigned to after every page. So every topic, it's called visualization, NumPy, pandas, it's all separated out. And you have code snippet and an explanation for that code snippet, and after that you have an exercise. So that's a good way to learn. We don't want them to learn through YouTube videos or stuff, but actually understand how you can code. That's how you learn. So certification, go through any, it's fine. Honestly, if you want to just pass a test, I would say AWS, Microsoft, just to pass the test and get a certification. But again, AWS certificates are like what, $400, $500. They're very expensive. So yeah, not necessary for you to do it, but go, if you want to do it, go for it. Cool. I don't see any other questions.
Yeah, even I don't see any other questions. I think if you have any final thoughts you'd like to give to the audience, you can. Otherwise, I think we can close for the session.
Awesome, great. So don't be shy in asking for your CV review. Ask for help. If you find any mentor, you can ask them to mentor, connect to mentors at Mentoring Club or Topmate. And yeah, if you have any other questions that you might have later on, do drop me a LinkedIn request and ask any questions you want to. I would love to answer them.
Right, great. Thank you so much. This was such a wonderful session. I feel like I